Hi everyone, my name's Anthony. I'm the director of Traders Galaxy, and I thought I'd take a few seconds to talk about the new pre-order for our new game, Broken Skies. So Broken Skies is an aerial dogfighting game set in the Bot War universe, and it uses a hex-based board, as the picture here shows. And I thought I would just run through some very quick contents, what's in the contents of the game, have a look at the miniatures, the stat cards, and the rule book, and just show you some basic stuff on how the game works. Okay, so the basic game actually includes 9 Traders Galaxy miniatures, and these are, you will get 4 democracy planes. 2 of which are quite special, 2 of which are from Special Branch. So you'll get Max Star in Freedom Eagle 2, which is this model here, and you get Sloan Poulsen in Airblade. Now, those Freedom Eagle 2 is just a single mode vehicle, but actually Airblade can be used as a helicopter or a jet, and I'll get to that a bit later on. And you also get 2 jets here, which is the Conqueror and Strike Force jet. So that's what you get for the democracy side. Now over here on the Atlantican side, you actually get some different types of. You actually get 3 Barracudas, which act as very light jets here. These 3 here. You'll get 1 Barracuda 1, which is here, and it works like a helicopter. And then you get the Manta, which is like a heavy bomber jet. So, sorry for the wobbly of the camera. So yeah, so you'll get 9 of those miniatures. Now in the pre-order, you'll also get 2 Valiants, which are alt forms for Valiants that exist in Bot War. Now this is a 3D print of one here. If you can see the size difference. So this is Starfighter. So you will get Starfighter as well. And you'll get Cadmia as well, which I don't have a 3D print of at the moment. So you also get the Bot War dice, and you will actually get 10 of these evasion counters here. These are used to do various abilities like change mode, and you also get extra shields if you spend them. Now these are mock-up cards for the mock-up game that I have here. The actual cards are being printed as we speak. So you will actually get in the box set all of the democracy cards and all of the Atlantican cards. That means that you'll actually get cards for models that are from the Bot War range as well, such as this Firefly here. And so you'll get all of the cards as well for Atlanta, including bots that basically alt form into Barracudas and stuff like that as well. So I believe there's 30, if my memory serves me correctly, 30 stat cards, and you'll get all the Special Branch, Democracy, and Democracy and Special Branch in that, and in the Atlantica you'll get all the Atlantican flyers and the bots as well. Now in the pre-order, specific to the pre-order for the first 7 days, you will also get all the stat cards to cover Deceivers, Coils, and Valiants as well. And you will actually get the 2 extra Valiant miniatures. So definitely worth pre-ordering in the first 7 days when it goes live, which is 1st of February. So everything is in the box to play, including these bases here. So the bases are actually on a 40mm hex. Now these are acrylic bases, and they will come all pre-drilled, etc., and you just slot them in there. These are 80mm stands, and you'll get all of that for all of the miniatures that you get in the pre-order. Now, you will actually get a rule book, which I don't have, but I do have a printout of the rule book. And this is the back page of the rule book, which is actually a quick reference guide. So we took people's feedback on board about quick references and actually put the quick reference guide on the back of the book. So when you flip the book onto its back, you actually can just use it as a quick reference. Now, if you look on here, you will actually see that there are multiple different types of modes in the game. And so you have 4 different modes. So jets are the hardest to, probably the most common in Broken Skies. They're also the most difficult to attack unless you're right behind one. So trying to shoot a jet from the side or trying to shoot a jet head on is really difficult because they're moving so fast. Whereas if you get behind one, it's quite easy to shoot one down. Now, helicopters are a bit different in the sense that you can shoot them from the side, but they are a little bit tougher. And they do actually have some bonuses against ground defenses. Now, bots are in Broken Skies, and some of the models using one of these evasion tokens can actually alt form into a bot in the midair. And that actually makes the bot is incredibly good at close range. In fact, if you're within close range of a bot, you're probably going to be destroyed. However, the bots in their bot form are very vulnerable to to being attacked, and so they need to get back into their jet mode as quickly as possible. So you do have bots, and that's a whole new element to the game, working out how to use bots most effectively. Now, ground defenses are actually quite important in the game as well. You can actually play the game without ground defenses. In fact, one thing that I don't have here is that the ground defenses aren't miniatures. They're actually tiles on a 40mm hex. And the reason for that is so the jets and the models can actually fly over the top of them and just place their thing on top of the ground defense hex. So, but ground defenses, even though they're not modeled, they actually behave exactly like models, and they do have a stat card as well. So over here on the right, you will see some of the movement and how it works. Sorry for the reflection on that. So each model comes with it. We'll go into it in a second, but each model comes with a certain amount of movement points, and these movement points are not like inches or anything like that, but they can be spent however you wish to perform these different maneuvers. And each maneuver, depending how it is, you can see there the white jet corresponds to where the jet was, and the colored jet where it will be, and how many movement points that will cost. So to move 1 hex forward, as you can see there, it's just a single movement point. To do a gentle turn and be in that position, it's just a single movement point. But to do a tight turn and be in that position, it's actually 2 movement points, and then you've got brake maneuvers and barrel rolls, etc. So that's how it works. This part of the game is quite difficult to grasp straight up. But once you learn all those moves and become quite proficient at reading the hexes and how they work, then that's really where the game's won or lost. Because the whole idea of Broken Skies is to get into positions where your firing or your missiles, etc., will do the most, be the most probability of you damaging your opponent or grounding your opponent. Okay, so moving over here to the stat card. So for those who play Bot War, the stat card will look pretty familiar in the sense that a lot of the abbreviations mean the same things. In fact, I might move on to one that has special rules on it. So looking here, we have SR, which is strategy rating. This is when your model will activate in the game. Now that's, for those that play Bot War, they will know that no matter what side you're on, you will still activate in that strategy rating order. So it could mean that the democracy player here could activate 3 or 4 times, and then the Atlantican player will have a go. Or it could mean, depending on how the strategy ratings work out, could mean the Atlantican player goes first for 2 goes or 3 goes or whatever, and then the democracy player gets a turn. Now the M is for obviously movement points, and then movement points, they're not inches or hexes or anything like that, so you spend those points how you wish. A is for attacks. That will be how many purple attack dice that you roll, okay, in your attacks. Now there's obviously modifiers for those depending on how you are positioned on the board and how your target is positioned, and those are modified further by what type of vehicle you are targeting. S is for shields, much the same as Bot War, and they are the 3 red dice that you would roll. And once again, there's modifications for them based on the type of vehicle, type of positioning. Now D is for damage, and that's how much damage you can sustain before the vehicle is taken out. Now looking down here, sorry for the reflection, I'm trying to keep it off, you'll see 2 pictures of 2 different vehicles, and this one for Airblade has a helicopter and a jet. Now the helicopter on top means that this model will start in helicopter mode. So it will have all the rules for a helicopter and no rules for a jet. And then once you spend an evasion counter in game, you can actually decide to change to a jet, and it will stay in jet mode until you decide to spend an evasion counter to change back. Up here is the points that this takes to bring this model to your force. And here is just a little special rule that is unique to this model. So Sloane Paulson Airblade can start up to 3 hexes forward on the board. Okay, so remember these are just mock-up cards, so little mistakes like this one down here won't be in the final cards. Okay, so likewise, everything's pretty much similar to that. Really, I have a thing in games to keep stuff as simple as possible so people can just get straight in and start having fun and use the core rules as simple and then expand out with different scenarios and things like that. Now, as I receive the rule books, etc., I will go through an unboxing, but that probably, I'd say, will be after the pre-order has launched. So, I will set up now and I'll just show you a bit how the game works. Okay, so here we have a straight up frontal attack by the Atlantican player on Freedom Eagle 2. So how this works is that to attack, or there is only sort of ranged attack in this game. So to attack, ranged attack, you have to be in a straight line of hexes. So see how that's like directly straight. You couldn't attack that model if you were facing that way and like that. And you couldn't even attack that model if you're facing that way, because that would be going along this straight line. So if you're here, you can only attack that straight ahead that way or straight ahead this way. But that's why you would have to be there. Now the reason why I'm not there is because if you're in Broken Skies, and this is a bit of a tricky one, that if you're in, and this is including friendly models as well, that if you are in an adjacent hex, then you have a chance of collision. Now, if you moved into the adjacent hex, then you've got a much worse consequences if you do collide than what the person who didn't move into that hex has got. And the idea of that is obviously just to stop kamikaze style play. So it's definitely worse off for the person that moves into that hex than the person that has their hex moved into. Now, okay, so we stay here. Now, the Barracuda 1 has 3 attacks. So that would be 3 purple dice. And the Freedom Eagle 2, sorry, I'm trying to hold this camera steady. So the Freedom Eagle 2 has 3 shields. Now, because it's a head-on attack though, and the Freedom Eagle 2 is a jet, then it actually gets an additional shield dice as defense. And I can also, as I've got a evasion token there, I can also spend that for another. So you can see the chances of actually hitting a jet front on and doing any sort of significant damage is pretty low. So that would be also the same if the jet is side on like this. So you can target that jet, but if you can imagine in, abstract world, this is to represent the jet is flying past the frontal sort of kill zone of the Atlantean fighter. Now, if the jet was like that though, well, that makes a big difference because you can still boost with your thing, so you do get that, but the Atlantean would get a critical dice. So there's much better chance of maneuvering around to fire at the rear of a plane. Now, that all sounds well and good, but at the same time, there are other models. This is just not an isolated incident. So there are other models. So you've always got to be careful that while you're trying to maneuver around, that someone else doesn't maneuver behind you. So this is how the game is played out in the movement phase, is to not expose your own back while you're trying to shoot someone else in the back. So that's sort of how the game works. I won't roll those dice because I'm sure that you guys can work out how it will all pan out. But yeah, so that's how it works. And you just take damage, mark off the damage, or if they're destroyed, you remove the model from the table. Okay, so that's pretty much it, really. Like, there obviously is maximum ranges. There's short range and long range, which make a difference to the dice. For instance, your long range, I think, is over 3 hexes away. So if we were 3 hexes or more away here, that is long range, and we actually would lose a dice at long range. So you do have less chance of hitting at long range. So the idea is always to get to this position here in short range and let rip, and then that's how you take down enemy flyers. But it's not so easy when you've also got to watch out that you're not getting exposed as well. Okay, so that's really how Broken Skies will work. And I'll come back to you in a minute. Another little feature in Broken Skies is that we have terrain in the air. So we actually have a little sort of interesting option here where you actually, the clouds don't come in the game, but there is a guide on how to make the clouds for the game. Now, the clouds in game, actually each turn they float around a certain distance, so they do move around. You can actually fly directly under the clouds. Now, whenever you do that, whenever you fly under the clouds like that, there is actually an effect. For instance, this cloud that I'm using here is a storm cloud. And if the model finishes its move under this cloud, then you would roll a d6. On a 4 up, the model has been struck by lightning and takes 1 attack dice worth of damage. So there are other clouds. There's rain clouds, which is a -1 movement point if you're passing through them. There are acid rain, which they're pretty dangerous. They have -1 shield if you're underneath them. There's an ionic cloud, which gives a boost to your attacking dice. And then there's normal cloud, which if you're underneath it, it counts as long range. So yeah, so clouds just add a little interesting effect to the board as they move around each turn, and you have to maneuver around if you don't want the negative or positive, or if you do want the positive effects of being under a certain type of cloud. So that's just another little thing in the game. Now the game itself comes with just 2 scenarios, but there will be more scenarios released each issue of Galactic Transmission through Traders Galaxy. So the game has been made so you can actually do ground attack missions as well, and there will be, like I said, there will be tokens, etc. throughout Galactic Transmission for specific ground attack runs as well. In fact, you don't have to fight against any other planes if you don't want to. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this little quick look at Broken Skies, and I'll catch you later.